Hi, so we are live for another episode of Entrepreneur Stories, and today we have as a guest our dear Kerry Lee. So, Kerry, thank you very much. Nikita and myself are really happy to have you for this episode. Really quickly, if you want to know a little more about Kerry, I would definitely advise you to go to your LinkedIn profile. So Kerry is a qualified yoga teacher, teaching regularly since 2001 yoga and Reiki practitioners. In 2019, she took a huge leap of faith and founded the Yoga Light Center, a beautiful sanctuary in Ruffin, North Wales, dedicated to yoga and other holistic practices to enhance general health and well-being the natural way. If you want to have a little more information about the classes, workshop, I know that Kerry also have R&B, Airbnb places. I'll definitely invite you to connect with Kerry as soon as possible. Now, Kerry, that was just a really quick, short introduction. What I'm gonna ask you is to actually introduce yourself and tell us a little more about you and your story.
Thank you. Hello, Tevin. Hello, Nikita. Thank you for having me on the show today. That was a great little resume there, Tevin. Thank you. Yes, I'm essentially a yoga teacher and have been a yoga teacher for 20 years, way before it became super fashionable as it is today. And I was drawn to yoga because of the profound effect it had on my body and mind, and reached a point in my life where I just wanted to share it with the world because it was just so transformational for me. I thought people need this. So I stopped what I was doing and then started teaching yoga. So it came from a very vocational point of view. And I have been teaching for 20 years. And seeing it evolve and seeing how it's really taken on in the well-being industry and the fitness industry. As it is, I struggle with this because I saw how competitive yoga teaching was becoming, and found that it really didn't sit well with me. I'd moved away from a very competitive industry and loved the yoga world because that was the antithesis of competitiveness. It was about unity and diversity. It was about feeling connected to yourself, but feeling connected to others as well. And suddenly this competitive world had evolved in the industry that didn't sit well at all. Just to move on very swiftly, because I'm sure that will come up in the conversation later, but to
Sure,
where
yeah.
I am now is that I happened to be in a situation where I had to move and ended up back close to my mother in North Wales. And I was looking for a tiny studio in my home because I'm a single parent with two young boys. And the only thing that came up was quite a big place. So this wasn't a design of mine. I'm saying this because I think it's important you realize I stepped into the world of micro entrepreneur, but that wasn't my design. I sort of fell into it and didn't have any choice. I had to step up to this because I had to survive. I had to bring up my children. And I knew I had the resources to renovate this place. It was a lot bigger than I was anticipating and wanting, but it reached a point where I had no choice. So I kind of fell into the role of micro entrepreneur. And I think that's important as well that I put that here because it also clarifies that my mission from the beginning hasn't been to have this big yoga studio and an Airbnb. It came about by accident in some respects. I
That's a
think that's
nice accident. We are happy that that kind of accident happened to you. Now, just to put things in the context, I really like the way you are introducing the topic. The what we really want to discuss today is really the impact of social media on entrepreneurship. Kerry, we can imagine, but that we got a lot of actually entrepreneurs in that situation who got a passion where they just want to share their passion with as many people as possible. They really want to serve as many people as possible. And in a way, there's always this kind of a question. Okay, so should you focus? You want to focus on your passion because that's your strength and that's what you want to offer to the world. And on the other side, there's also that uh, competition with companies who got massive budget. So what do you need to do? Should you actually just focus on your strength and expect people to recognize your value, or should you also actually invest in social media? So the question is social media um, important to your entrepreneurship, to success? So that's what we are going to try to discuss today. Um, and so yeah, so the situation you are going through, that you have experienced is definitely something I think that a lot of entrepreneurs experiment, that kind of that's kind of a conflict, internal conflict, where to put the energy. So before I go a little further, I just would like also to say thank you to Tina Malin from East Coast of Florida. Tina, thank you very much for being there. I will definitely make sure that I read the comment as they come. We also have thank you, Sylvia. Can an enterprise survive without social media? Sylvia is a really fantastic nurse in Spain. Uh, Tina, tell us also a little more about you, but we'll definitely cover the topic of social media. Now, um, Kerry, sorry, I'm reading at the same time the different comment. First of all, what is your position on social media? And in you mentioned that you don't want to have like a massive company. That's not what you are looking to do. To have like a lot to make millions and millions. But what is your relationship with social media yourself?
Great question. A very difficult one.
Okay.
So 20 years ago, back in the day, word of mouth was the way you got work. Word spread very quickly, and then you'd find people coming to classes because it was talked about. And I still believe that word of mouth and referring people is still the strongest form of advertising. However, we have moved online, and as you and I both discussed last week and agreed that any entrepreneur is going to have some kind of online presence, and that includes social media. So there are different forms of social media, and they all work in entirely different ways. Tevin, you've explained yourself that you're a LinkedIn expert. I say I'm quite new to LinkedIn. I joined it years ago, but I'm still not 100% familiar with how it works. But I'm more familiar with Facebook and Instagram. And you can use these in entirely different ways. And I think the art is knowing how to use them and what you want to achieve from them. So Instagram is a really interesting one, but I have a real problem with it for marketing because of the lack of ethic in how entrepreneurs use it. I think it's quite a common thing for people to poach from others, and I think that's so unethical, but it's become the norm, and this is what really worries me. The fact with Instagram as well that you can buy followers and you can pay for that privilege. So, you could pay to have 4,000 followers and nobody knows any different, but people are swayed by numbers, aren't they? And I think it's really important for when you're looking at something on social media, and in this case, Instagram, that you have to realize that it's illusion. So in yoga, there is the word Maya, which is the world of illusion, and Instagram displays that perfectly. because it's like an intrusive world. You can project whatever you want, and people will, they've got no reason to believe it or not believe it. You know, they'll just accept what they see. So for me, I don't like to use it for marketing or to try and draw work, because I don't like the ethic. But I do like it for my students to have a little window and to explore further a concept that we might be looking at in class, or to advertise the Airbnb or a review, you know?
Yeah.
So sorry.
Oh, no, go on, Nikita.
I was just going to say that I am at this point where I am starting off as an entrepreneur, but had the dream for ages, did a lot of work in the background without actually launching myself out there or putting myself out there, simply because I have this little perfectionist voice that holds me back, saying, you're not on social media. Look at other people. They've got thousands and 10,000s of followers. Why should you put yourself out there? You're not as good as them. All of that, okay? And that this is the reason why I was so interested in talking to you about this, because you're probably, from the initial chat that we had, I kind of got the same feeling. As an entrepreneur, and as Sylvia has asked the question, can an enterprise or an entrepreneur survive without social media? So that was kind of what was bugging me on one side, thinking, can I really survive without social media? And the other question is, do I want to? Do I want to be out there? Because my expertise is not social media. My expertise is not web designing. I don't want to build a website. I don't want to be on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those things. My expertise is emotional intelligence, and I would love to work with families, especially. That's where I come from, and I want to focus there. I don't want to focus my energy on Instagram. But then on the other hand, the thing is, whatever services I've bought so far, I have bought them by having this little sneak peek into social media. I follow a couple of people on Instagram, and I see, oh, okay, she's talking about this particular service or this particular product, and I like it. Those little, I don't even know what you call them. I think they're called reels or something. They're a minute or 2 minute long. When I see it, I feel like, you know, she really speaks to me, or this person really speaks to me. And I want to buy their services. I don't want to buy services of somebody that I don't know. I don't want to pay thousands or even hundreds or tens of pounds to somebody and not knowing what I'm going to get. It's like getting a little taster before you buy the cake, that sort of a thing, you know? So on one hand, I myself, though I don't want to invest my time into social media, and I understand when other people say that to me, but on the other hand, I'm the kind of person who would not buy anything without having seen their social media presence. So I guess I would get Tevin to comment on this, because Tevin was the one who was convincing me one way or the other. And Tevin, do you want to?
Yeah, no, definitely. First of all, Dino, there's like a comment here. Great to see the collaboration from Dr. Evan Thompson. By the way, talking about Dr. Evan Thompson, Kerry, that's a fantastic network. I would definitely be happy to, we will be happy to introduce you to, because you're talking about connection, you know, and that is true that when we look at social media online, there's a lot of activity, but you don't really feel people to be genuine. And that's like a kind of something that can put people off, you know. And you also have that with a professional network. And the professional network of Dr. Evan Thompson is completely the opposite. You know, that's one of those networks where you feel that people are there to support each other. So we'll definitely make sure that we are introduced to that network. Dr. Evan Thompson, thank you so much also to support us. I completely understand what you mean with Instagram, that everything is fake, that people can be you use a word, I don't know if it was dishonest or but in a way we can feel that you know that you cannot really trust what you see. And in a way you're completely right, you know. And if you think about even the way we are built, I would say with our DNA. We are not made in a way to interact with a thousand of people in a way. There's like I don't know if you've heard about that, the Dunbar number. That's 150, and it seems that actually from the way we are construct, we are not construct to deal with more than 150 people anyway. So because of that, I would say that yes, social media in a way, there's nothing that is real because we cannot even process more than 150 people anyway. So real connections, that's not possible to have with more than 150 people, 200 and 300 people. So I got different Facebook accounts, so I got like 10,000 people in total. I got like a few thousand on LinkedIn. So in a way, I think that it's important for us to know what we are using social media for. If you're using social media in a way to have strong connection with everyone, we are in a way misleading ourselves. That's why, yeah.
That's exactly it. It's having that clarity of knowing what you are using it for. It's like it's there, and you can use it to your advantage. Realizing that you don't have to even compare yourself to others. I've been on Instagram for years. I've got 2 accounts on there, and I've got hardly any followers on my business one. But I don't follow anybody, so I'm not surprised. I don't play the game. I don't engage because I'm using it to share a part of the business, a part of myself. Yeah. I'm not using it to try and exploit. Nikita, you are so right about what you say about the reels on Instagram. And I think, this is where it really is useful commodity, because in somebody hearing you speak and hearing you talk about your services, you're going to get a sense of a rapport or not with that person. You have that immediate connection. And this is why it is so powerful. And this is why it isn't going away. An employer looking to employ somebody is going to go to social media to look at this potential employee. That's the first place they're going to go. And they're going to be perhaps suspicious when they don't see anything about somebody, because it's like, well, everyone's on social media. But then you don't have to tart yourself. You don't have to, you use it as you want to use it. And I think if you remember that, and you remember that you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else, you are just showing your authentic self, you'll be happy with it, and you'll be able to produce some great material. But again, the thing is that you get swept up in this current. It almost becomes an addiction. I've got to do this social, I've got to do it every day, I've got to do this, got to do that, and then you become a slave to it. And I think that's the constant reflection I give to myself. Am I becoming a slave to this, or is this serving me in a way I want it to? And I think this is the conversation that we always need to have, and not be hoodwinked by what we see on the apparent glossy images of Instagram.
Yes.
Take it with a pinch of salt and take it with humor.
For sure. And I like that you agree that it's really important to know what we are using social media for. But what I also see too often, I would say, with entrepreneurs, is to have a kind of a black or white position when it comes to social media. And often what you see is you get some entrepreneurs who are really, especially in the wellness industry, an industry I'm really passionate about, where people really want to help to serve. You got people that are, okay, do you know what? I just want to serve, so I don't want to play that game, And on the other side, you got people in the same industry who seem to be like, okay, do you know what? I just want to run a successful business. So I'm putting like the value on the side, and I think that it doesn't have to be black or white. And if anything, that's definitely the message that I want to share with as many entrepreneurs like you, is to be like, it's not because you are not playing the same game than those people that lack values that you cannot use it at all. It's really about finding the way to use social media. Social media is still like an incredible tool, but people need to know how to use it. And sometimes by having like a black or white mentality, a lot of really valuable teachers are missing out on an opportunity. And what's happened is like a few months down the line, a few years, they disappear, because at the end of the day, if you don't get clients, it can be as good as you want, your disappear is not gonna survive, so that's really, I think, where the challenge is how to use social media in a way where you don't really end up losing your value.
So I really like. Oh, go on.
Sorry,
Kerry.
Nikita. No, you go.
I was just saying, I really liked what Kerry said. You begin with an intention in your mind, because just saying, "Oh well, I'm an entrepreneur, I got to be on social media," is not very helpful. So having that intention clear and making sure that you're not actually comparing yourself to others, you're there to do your job, you're showcasing your talent, and that's already a great beginning. I mean, for me, who, as I said, the little perfectionist voice in me keeps telling me, no, until you have, like, I don't know, 1,000 followers, don't do this, don't do that. So I like Kerry's advice, which is not comparing yourself to others, and having your intentions set. You're showcasing your services, your expertise, so people get a sneak peek of what you are like, who you are, and whether you can have that rapport, that connection. That's the whole point. So what I was just going to ask you two to kind of expand on, perhaps, what would be the next step then? Because I bet there are lots of people out there who are in similar situation where they want to focus on their expertise but not spend a great deal of amount either in resources, time, money, or their own time on social media. So what kind of a strategy would you recommend that one employs?
I would recommend not spending more than 15 minutes on it a day. And then just plugging away. So the old school approach of flyers, to put yourself out there and engaging with people. So I spend a lot of time now, people who approach me, having the conversation with them, getting to know them, because I feel that we've become so disparate in society. We've become so disconnected from people, and anyone that's in, which all of us, all three of us are, people-related service, they are going to want to feel some kind of connection with you or I as a human being. And so it's really important to authentically connect with them on that level. And I think it's worth anyone that comes to you to really take that time to engage with them. They may not buy your service at the end of the day, but at least you've let them feel good about themselves and feel that they're worthy. And I think that's a really important thing to be able to do for somebody as well. And I think, the more you can work authentically like that, the stronger and more contained you will feel in yourself. And it's a hard market out there. Trying to do anything is really hard, but I would be really tempted to stay away from the unauthentic trainings that are being given, because there's a lot being given or offered at the moment. And I think if you can really search to find your own voice, and maybe engage in one-to-one mentoring to help you find your own voice. Because I think for me, having played with social media a lot, with Facebook, Facebook I use as my social life. I wasn't able to go out in the evenings for years because of my children, being so little. So Facebook became a social life. So I use that for my social life. And oh, I've lost my thread. So the authenticity of, that was it. So coming back to yourself all the time and knowing what it is you are wanting to, what service you're wanting to offer it, your ideal client base. That's the other thing that you need to be aware of. Who is your ideal client that you want to attract? And then you just keep that in you. It's all about intention, the clarity of intention.
Yeah.
Who's your ideal client for yourself, Kerry?
My ideal client is anybody who has a desire to go deeper into themselves. If you want to get better in flexing your legs, great. But if that's your sole outcome, I'm not really the person for you. But if you want to be able to look after your body, but go deeper and really connect to your soul, then that's my ideal client. So it can be anyone. that wants to go a bit deeper.
And you mentioned about a word of mouth. Beside the word of mouth, how do you get people to know about you?
No, I don't know.
There was a deep breath there. Yeah. Okay, I'm quite interested to hear the answer.
I communicate on Facebook, me. So as I said, that's become my kind of social life. So I've got friends on Facebook and I share parts of myself. So people get to know me as a person, not just me as a yoga teacher.
Okay.
And that kind of filtrates over into Instagram as well, because I like to share. So, you know, and that's just my quirky personality. In terms of attracting and drawing people, I don't know. How is it happening? I think, you know, I don't know. I think if you just keep working hard, using all these different formats, and you stay true and you're good at what you do, it will come back to you, even if you haven't got 100,000 followers on Instagram or whatever. You know, okay, I'm spiritual. The universe, it guides your path, you know, and I do put a lot out there. So I'm not your regular kind of entrepreneur to give tips.
And how would your practice work or survive if you didn't have the Airbnb? And you mentioned that once again that it happened like accidentally, but let's imagine that you didn't have that.
Yeah.
How would your
There's
practice
no
work?
way I can hear now. Yeah. So again, divine intervention. I ended up buying a place, and it was the builders that said, it was the builders, they were renovating the studio, said that would be great for an Airbnb. And I was like, oh, right. And then, you know, thought about it. And actually that has been my saving grace since the COVID hit, you know, because then that's still happening. Yeah.
So if you didn't have the Airbnb, how would you actually help the world with the gift that you have? You know, what you teach them. How would you be able to do that?
I don't know. You know, it's not come to that point where I've ever had to stop teaching yoga, and I think I'd have to find another job, wouldn't I? You know, and I was anticipating this. You know, at the beginning of COVID, I thought I might have to sell everything and go, but as it is, it's all worked out. But I've worked so hard to get online, so I teach online now. So I'm trying to make myself accessible as possible.
Okay. So, and how many would you say? I don't especially like the word clients because I don't really see people as clients. But how many participants would you need to would you find you or a decent wellness studio would need in a way in order to survive?
Well, that depends on how much you charge for a class, isn't it? So it's all relative. I was having this conversation earlier about how you price market your class in relation to your experience. And so that's like, how long is a piece of string? I think you've touched on something really important here, that it's very difficult in the work I'm doing to just solely have a source of income from that. So I have the source of income from the Airbnb, which I can relate to the studio and the yoga work because I can offer one-to-one yoga. So it all relates, but it is a separate income. The other way of sourcing an income is through retreats as well, which again was taken away through COVID, but that's coming back again.
Are you the one organizing the retreat, or you work with like a?
No, I'm really lucky to work for a company, one of the longest standing online retreat companies, and they employ me. But I'm one of their teachers, so I don't have to worry about all that organizing because that's not where my talent is at all. There are some particular teachers that do a wonderful job of the whole package themselves, but that's not me.
Okay, so that's quite interesting because in a way, I think that there's like a few takeaway for other entrepreneurs who want to do something quite similar to you. So it's possible in a way to still be able to live from the passion or the gift that you have. But in order to do that, it's good to think about diversifying. So you have the yoga that you teach, but you also have the Airbnb, you also have the online, you also have the retreat. So you got actually different source of revenue. Now, what I found also quite interesting here is that uh, in order for the retreat to be able to work, would you say that that company that does the retreat, would you say that they do more marketing than you do
Yeah.
to advertise? Okay, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
quite interesting.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting because it means that marketing, in a way, the issue is not so much about is a marketing important or not. Because in order for that company to be able to help you, to employ you, they're doing the marketing, and that's what I actually find is that it's often the issue is not so much is the marketing good or bad. The issue is that people struggling with the concept of doing the marketing. So because in a way that company is doing the marketing that in a way you don't really feel comfortable to do for different reasons. And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of professionals find themselves in this situation. So I think that there are two options, Nikita, but so many also.
Yeah.
And there are two different options. One option is really to be able to be like, do you know what? I don't find comfortable to do the marketing myself at this stage for whatever reason. Is it possible to have a collaboration with another company who does the marketing? That does the marketing. That's one option. The other option is to be like, okay, what makes me feel uncomfortable with the marketing? I deal with that and I do the marketing. Because at the end of the day, someone is doing the marketing. But I like the approach that you have, that is quite organic. But unfortunately, a lot of professionals don't really have that kind of a luxury, or didn't have that kind of a help from the universe. But I like the fact that you have diversifying one thing, and also collaboration with other entities that do the marketing.
Devin, that's a really good advice, which is if you're not comfortable doing the marketing yourself, either being with somebody who is comfortable doing that or getting someone to do that for you. I'm still going to dig in a little deeper here, and from my personal experience, and maybe Kerry can talk about hers as well. But before I met with you, and right now I rely on you to do all the marketing because you're the marketing expert. But before I met with you years ago, I did finally muster the courage and the money and the resources to get someone to do marketing for me. But the way they were kind of doing this pushing and the aggressive marketing in my name, basically on Instagram, this woman's posting things under my name, that made me really uncomfortable, because that's not me. I wouldn't push somebody. I like it more organically done, wherein people know about me, people like what I'm doing, they respect me, and then they come to me saying, by the way, I like blah blah blah, can you tell me more? That's how I would like it to be, rather than going discount, and that just, it doesn't sit well with me. So I just told her, you know what, stop using my name, don't do this, please don't do this. And I became more comfortable doing providing my services more as a contractor or as employee under somebody else's name. So I do work with companies right now who use my services. So they're doing nothing. They never even talk to the clients or the participants, what do you want to call them. But the point is, they do all of the marketing. They have no clue about what I'm doing. They just get me the customers. They charge them whatever money they want to charge them, and I get a fraction of it. But at least I'm happy because it's not done under Nikita's name. It's done under the company's name, and they are doing the aggressive marketing. At the end of the day, they use my name because they do say Nikita is going to be your trainer and blah, blah. And that's why some people who know me do sign up after all. But so how would you go about this? I don't know if there are other people like me or it's just me. If it's the case who's awkward being this aggressive with marketing.
But that's, I think, sorry, that's actually a little like Kerry is doing also. There's like another company doing like the marketing. I think that's what is still quite important is to make sure, fine, to ensure that the company is in line with your own values. So I think that's really important. So you don't really feel uncomfortable and to be like, okay, are they too aggressive? So yeah, I think that you are using an approach that's quite similar to the one of
Yeah.
of Kerry. Yeah, sorry, Kerry. Yeah.
Just to say, I really hear you when you say about the aggressive marketing, and that is something that is, I can't bear it. I just can't bear it. So to how Tevin and I connected on LinkedIn was some kind of small miracle, because I have lots of people at the moment. I think as soon as you become a business owner, everyone's appealing to you to try and sell something from themselves. And Tevin got through to me. You're the one person that actually got through, and I just sensed this authenticity in him straight away in the comment. You asked me a question. I don't know whether you remember how it started, but
Yeah, I
you
do.
asked me a question, and I first thought he's coming at this from a really interesting angle, and you were so unique. And so therefore, when we're looking at marketing, if you're going to find someone to do the marketing, they have to resonate with your values as well, don't they? And if you don't like the aggressive marketing, they're a ripple effect of what you are. And again, this is where we have to be so clear about what it is we're offering. Because if you're offering something very gentle and then you've got this aggressive marketing, it's just not resonating and it's not going to work. It's going to clash. So, everything ripples out from this core nucleus of what it is you are, what it is you're presenting to the world, what is your offering. But yes, I think this aggressive marketing, I think everyone's getting a bit tired of it now. And I think everyone's probably beginning to see through it as well. I think it's very in your face and it catches people's attention. But my guess is a lot of people are getting very tired of it. Need a different approach.
Do you know what's interesting? Is that I think something that you mentioned that I found really important, and that's what I wanted to say also, is so important if you decide to have someone doing the marketing for you. It's so important to have someone that is in line with your values. That's so important. Otherwise, that's just going to create not only some stress on for you, but you get that kind of image where you don't really come as authentic because that person is representing you. So it's so important to find someone who's in line with your value and that someone who can represent you. Now, what you mentioned, Kerry, about like people are fed up with that aggressive marketing. The reason aggressive marketing works in a way is because you got two ways to see things. You can do things from a quality point of view. You can do things from a quantity point of view. And people that are aggressive on marketing is because they are aiming at more the quantity. So it's still gonna work. But once again, it doesn't have to be one or the other. I think that you can still have that kind of a voice of authenticity and still be willing to actually share your message with as many people as possible. When I meet people like you, Kerry, like Nikita, Dr. even Thompson, and I have the opportunity to speak on a one-to-one, sometimes I'm like, wow, I really want those people to reach as many people as possible because people need what you have to offer. This world that we are living in at the moment is getting crazy. And you can feel that people need people like you who can be like, you know what? Slow down a little. Go there, go deep inside you. Or that's so scary. Don't worry, I'm there also I'm there with you. You're gonna go there, but I'm here to help you to do that. So what you're doing with 2-3 people, in a way, if you could do that with 2,000 people, 20,000 people, 2 million people, I would be happy. That doesn't mean that it's only you who's going to do that, But if you can have like a structure that allow you to reach 2,000 people, 20,000 people or more, why not? You know. But in order to get there, I think that's so important to not to think in terms of a black and white, you know, and to see, okay, how can I get there? And by asking the how can I get there, you might be able to find that kind of a system that works for you, where you got some quality for sure, but also where to get the quantity. Everything is possible, definitely.
That's very interesting. So we were in the very beginning, we were talking about social media or no social media, because I'm kind of a person who does not really enjoy social media. But I think it's fairly clear that we all do need a little bit of social media, because otherwise no one's going to know who you are. And as Kerry began the conversation with, which is the word of mouth, now we've come to the stage where word of mouth is through the internet, through social media. Very few people hang out now, have a coffee, and talk to each other about their experience. These days, people do that shout out on social media. If you go to a nice place, nice restaurant, be it a yoga retreat, whatever that is, people do that shout out on social media. And if I hear about somebody through social media, I would want to see their profile and see what they're doing. So I don't think we can really, as entrepreneurs, escape the social media game. And definitely that's a must, not a luxury. But having a bit more strategic approach to it is what we need, right?
Yeah, it's about being in control of the game. It's about you working out how you're going to play that game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's your plan to play that game? I'm interested in that, Kerry.
Well,
so what are you going to do to make sure that people can benefit from the gift that you have? I say that really, I hope that people don't think that I'm crazy. That will not be the first time. But I had the opportunity to talk with Kerry, and I can only encourage people to reach to her, because that's really a gift. So what are you going to do to make sure that as many people as possible can benefit from your gift?
You see, I'm not going from the quantity point of view. Oh dear, I'm going to throw something into the mix here. My motto is quality, not quantity. So if you can reach one person and that has a ripple effect, then that's great. So I can only do what I'm continuing to do. I'm out there on all the social media platforms in my own little way. Despite it's strange, the amount of people that follow you on one social media and then not on another. But, the message seems to be getting reached. I'm getting work. People are coming to classes. So I think all I can do at the moment is to keep doing what I'm doing. I struggle with Instagram, which is why I keep talking about it. I do have a problem with this account.
What do you mean? What is the problem that you have?
Because I think it's got such potential. I know people can make a living through Instagram, and it looks so pretty. It's great. It's genius the way it's constructed. You've got these lovely images. So if you're a visual person, which most people are, you've got it there, these beautiful images. And it has this potential to attract a lot of work. But I think I'm quite stubborn. And I've stuck my feet and thought, I'm not going to play this game. I made a decision really early on. I'm not going to play the Instagram game. And
what is the Instagram game? I would like
the Instagram game is you will make an effort to go and find other like-minded professionals like yourself and comment on their post, like their post, so that they get to know you. So it's all about getting it to come back to you. You will also make 5 different comments on different people's posts. You'll follow a lot of people, in order to try and get them to follow you. So it's a game, and I know it works for people. I've never ever played it, but because I saw what it was for what it was. But it works for people, and that's great. If you want to generate your business through Instagram, that's the way to go about it. You know, there's some very clear and easy strategies. You don't spend more than 20 minutes on it, but you actively go and do that. You put your post on, then you actively go out, make connections with other people. And that may be something I might explore, but I'm so suspicious of Instagram because on the side, as I was explaining before, and Nikita, this is really important for you to know, and not to be intimidated by seeing the thousands of followers some people have, because many of those professionals will have bought them so that they look more powerful than they are. Because money talks, and you can buy anything in this day and age to give the illusion and the impression of something that you're not. So be aware of that. So personally, I'm actually attracted to those with fewer followers because you can be darn sure they're the authentic people because there's been no money spent on buying followers. So, you know, and so for me, I have this difficult relationship with Instagram. And I'm not the person to come to for advice, although I can explain to you how you can go about it. How I've just chosen not to. Maybe I don't know.
The question that I have for you, if you could, let's imagine that now let's say that you got like thanks to whatever you do on Instagram, you are able to change the life of a one person per month, okay, and by doing what you mentioned, you know, to connect with 2 or 3 people per day, to have those 2 free messages, you know, and to spend, let's say, half an hour a week, let's say 2 hours a month, you know, because that's more or less the strategy that you mentioned. If you had the guarantee, knowing that guarantee never exists, okay, but if you have the guarantee that by spending those 2 hours per month, that you instead of helping 1 new person per month, you could actually change the life of 10 or 20 people per month, independently of those people paying you like £1 per month or £1,000 per month, okay? But you have the opportunity to the guarantee that you will be able to change the life of 10 people per month. How would that affect what you do on Instagram? So on one side, you have 2 options. On one option, one option is to be, okay, no, I don't do that, but I'm helping 1 person. Okay. The other option is that, okay, I'm gonna do that. I don't especially feel comfortable with that. It takes time, blah blah, but I'm changing the life of 10 people a month. What would you do?
I don't know how I can operate on Instagram in any other way that's not all where it's felt genuinely from me. So I can't say, but what I can say is that I think this is the beauty of being able to work online, you know, teach online, because that is a way that you can reach people from anywhere in the world. But that, okay, I know that's not what you're saying, because you're talking about coming from the marketing perspective, how to get those people to see you online anyway in the first place. I don't know. I'm terrible at marketing. You know.
So what we would do definitely, we will have like one session with you, 1-to-1, and I will try to see what can be done. We can exchange some kind of ideas, because this is something that that was actually one of the reasons I decided to start my own agency. I spent like 3 years working for a corporation in the wellness industry. So I spent so much time with people who had like a proper gift, you know, and even if they will not talk about the gift, but at least you could feel by talking with those people that what they wanted was really to change the life of other people, you know. But in their own journey, what has happened often is that they had some kind of a difficult relationship with the idea of selling, you know, and to be like, no, what should I have to sell? You know, if they could, they would just help for free, nearly. Okay, so or they would have some kind of a challenge with that concept of a selling versus helping, or they would have been they would have tried, you know, some marketing tactics, and they would have been burnt, you know, with like people that took their money or that they made promises. So in a way, I spent a lot of time in a way dealing with people who actually was struggling within themselves with the concept of marketing more than anything else. There was a kind of okay, that battle, all battle about like, okay, how do I help without selling, okay, or where can I find someone that is genuine enough to understand or what my mission is and helping me genuinely, and because of that kind of a struggle that people were not really able to solve, they were stuck, and at the end of the day, what was difficult for me is that to be a sugar, I the longer they get stuck, um, the less people are actually benefiting from their the gift, So my gift for you will take some time, even half an hour, and to tell you, to exchange with you a few like strategies that can be easily implemented. But I'm a big believer of using tool in. It's like social media is like a knife, it's up to you to use that, to in a way that can be helpful for others. You're gonna be able, I don't know, to use the knife to spread some chocolate, some I don't know, some butter on the bread, and then offer that bread to people. Or it can use the same knife, and to stab people. So that's exactly the same with a social media. Yeah, but that would be between you and me, and then Nikita. We have like a private session, and we see what we can do to help you in your mission.
I'm going to jump in here, Kevin. I remember because you gave me the exact same advice, and it helped me in many, many ways. The way I started seeing things is, yes, exactly the way you put it. Because for me, the idea of selling and marketing, that did not sit well with me. I wanted to help people, yes, but in an authentic and organic way by connecting with people, not I'm doing this for money, that sort of a way. Um, so yeah, when you put it across like that okay, by doing this, just Kerry gave that example right now, saying that if I spend 15, I think initially she did say 15 minutes max on Instagram. If you spend 15 minutes on commenting on other people's posts and getting that visibility, if you look at it in a way that this is, you're not, if you look at it as this is my marketing, this is, I'm doing this to become visible, it starts kind of pinching you somewhere. But then if you look at it as, okay, I'm going to do this authentically because I want to look at what other people are doing, write my comments to it in a very authentic way. And if people like me, I will be able to help them. That sits well with a lot of other people, I think. I mean, people like you and me, I suppose, Kerry. And another big thing that came out of this, Kevin, I actually should have thanked you formally for this, and I never got a chance to do that. But when I started connecting with these people, I learned so much more from other people as well. I'm not talking marketing, I'm not talking sales, I'm not talking snatching clients or none of that. But just sometimes you learn from other people, and that was valuable for me. So people who are either in the same industry as what I am doing, or people doing similar things, or people that I follow because of whatever reasons, I got to actually learn a lot from them. Besides, when I started commenting on their posts, their videos, and all of that, yes, I met so many good people, I suppose, and Tevin and you, Kerry, met exactly the same way. So it's not just getting clients or getting visibility. You meet people who are like-minded, who get to see who you are, you get to see who they are. And for me, that was the best thing that happened. It was that network of like-minded people that has enabled me to grow. And so I don't see this as marketing anymore. I see using social media as something that helps me grow in doing what I am doing, and as an individual as well. So I think for me, having that kind of, I come from a dinosaur kind of age where I don't want social media, and my daughter teaches me loads of things, and I'm like, no, stay away. This is no good. But if you, just like Kevin said, it's a knife. You can use it to spread butter or cut a piece of fruit, or you can use it to stab somebody. And yeah,
I,
that's the thing.
I love that that you're saying, actually using it as a way to build your own community, which, Tevin, is how you approached me in the first place through the question you asked. You looked at something else that was to do with me as a person and an experience I'd had in my life, not my career. You came at it from a human perspective. And that's really interesting. You've really helped to open my mind, both of you, because I am a stubborn ox sometimes. And Instagram, I've had this real love-hate relationship with, and became very skeptical. But actually, it's how you work with that, and you can use it to build your own community and get into like-minded people, as you just said, Nikita. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I think that when people like you have that gift, that mission, that's in a way a shame to get stuck on things that you don't especially like, where your mission is so big that this is where all the effort should be, and I mentioned, I told you I worked for 3 years at Mindbody, and I spoke to hundreds and hundreds of people that inspire me in a way, and as I mentioned, that's how in a way I started my agency, because I was like, no, those people really want to serve, so they are, but they don't really have any. I would say that now I can mention that because I'm not working for the company, but I was spending certainly half of my time to help people with understanding about marketing, uh, rather than selling them, the software, because a lot of them was really inspiring people. They really want to serve the world, and there was missing one element, and the element was like, okay, how do I get people to know about what I do in an authentic way? And that was really the kind of a challenge a lot of those entrepreneurs were dealing with, so rather than just selling them the software, I was also taking time to explain them what they could do, when it comes to marketing, and yeah, and I think that made a difference. And for me, I was like, wow, do you know what? Those people, they really, in a way, try to save the world, to change the world, and unfortunately, they get stuck with a consideration that really take too much of the energy. Okay, should I should I do Instagram or no? Do I look authentical? How do I do like a Facebook ads? And that becomes too much. And they are, oh, do you know what? That's just too much. Forget about all of that. I'm just gonna focus on offering my service. And they find themselves in a situation where they struggle because they don't trust anything around them. They're just, okay, the only thing that I know I can trust is that, okay, my intention is good and my service is of quality. So anything else I cannot really trust. I don't know how it works, so I'm just gonna do that. And unfortunately, for, I would say, 50%, they will end up in a situation where they're struggling even themselves, where they are not able to help themselves. So that's for me something that was really impacting my way of working. For example, when we're talking about using those internet like tools, something that people don't especially realize is that email marketing is really powerful, but people think that email marketing is something that's really crazy, that's really difficult. But no, it's not that difficult. For some of my clients, what I'm doing when it comes to marketing is just helping them to develop an email list. This is just using like a tool, the email to have an email list. Once you have that, after that you can create. You got some tools to have like the communication, but you can take the time to personalize your email. in such a way, yeah, it is authentic. It doesn't have like to be like those massive emails that are sent to 100 to 200,000 people, 1 million people. You can have now email that are really personal, authentic. But it means that now you're really using marketing in a way that really helps your business to grow, but in a really authentic way, rather than to be like, you know what? No, marketing is just to people are dishonest. I don't want to do, and you're losing opportunities. So, no, we definitely have to take some time to share with you a few things, not for your business to grow as the main focus, but for you to help you maybe to reach more people, because I really think that the way the world is going, if people like you are not reaching out to more people, we are in deep trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kerry, I would like to. I put a link of your website.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. So, what is the best way for people to reach out to you?
Direct email is the best way, which is on the website. You do have the chance to just do a contact form, but for some reason I have to go into junk to find that. But if you actually email me directly, kerry@yoga-light.com, I will get it. And then if someone prefers to chat on the phone, we can then chat on the phone. But just to make that initial link, that would be great. Yeah.
So, Kerry at Yoga Light
-light. So it's like the mind sign, the hyphen, light.com. Kerry@yoga-light.com.
And I love that name, Yoga Light.
Yeah. It's there we are.
There we go.
Thank you.
Kerry, we took a little more of your time. We have stolen 3 minutes of your precious time. Thank you so much for being with us, for accepting our invite.
Thank you both for hosting. It's been lovely. It's been really enlightening. For me.
Good. For us too, it's very sharing. So
yeah, it's been great for me as well to know that I'm not the only one, because I do feel genuinely that there are people who are really good at what they do, and having that little conversation with you last week, Kerry, I mean, I could see, and today as well, just before we joined, I could see the authenticity and where you're coming from. And yes, definitely marketing, sales, all that does scare a lot of people. And as Kevin was just saying, this is, if you just need a little shift in perspective, and that's great for people like you and me, So I think I really enjoyed talking to you and having you here today. So I know I'm not the only one. So yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
So thank you also to Tina, Malin, Dr. Evan. Thank you very much also for the support. We would also talk to you about the WinTrade network, and we will be back next Sunday at 6 p.m. BST. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.